Hey, Steve, please click on the Deck Heroes icon, click on subscribe, 100% free. Well, apart from blood in, blood out. Anyway, this is what I think is a quite a good video. There's a gentleman, an older gentleman, giving a lot of absolutely amazing advice. So on one hand, you got a young lady giving her point of view of her experiences, then you got him kind of giving his feedback on that point of view. And as I say, I think it's pretty good what he's saying, and I will chip in myself. Let's go.
There are only two instances in which a woman would ever hypothetically hit the wall, and I say hypothetically because women don't hit the wall.
Oh, darling, I do admire your wishful thinking, but the reality is women do hit the wall, and hit it hard.
Okay, that is a concept invented by men that is projected onto women.
Yeah. What's she saying? Okay, well, she's obviously getting ahead of where I wanted to stop a little bit, but listen, the concept of wall goes back to the late great Godfather Kevin Samuels a little bit, but obviously before that as well. I think what they're saying is as much as, and they do touch on this later in the video. I think men are just naturally, and I'm not talking about all men, of course, you know what I mean. But I'm talking about a perception of the majority of men are more attracted to younger women, more attracted to women of a childbearing age more generally, unless they already have children, or that just happens to be, who they fall in love with. I got friends who fallen in love with older ladies. They don't have kids necessarily. There's always exceptions, but I'm thinking more generally, that is the case. I think there is the whole thing about body clock, and that can well be a factor. I don't have a daughter or anything like that, but if I did, I think I'll try and make her more aware of that and making the most of her youthful years, focus on career and focus on university and be a high achiever. But not to get drawn into, I don't want to say the lies, but the that kind of distorted reality that she can push things down the line and it's not going to have an impact or restrict her life chances. I'm talking about life chances in terms of if she actually wants a relationship, her prime years are going to be in her 20s and 30s, in terms of the pool of men that she can choose from. And as I say, when she's in her peak years, as I say, really in her kind of late 20s, generally speaking, to early 30s, mid 30s maybe. And again, listen, I'm not ruling out people who are older. I'm just saying that the pool is going to be slightly smaller or quite a bit smaller depending on where you are. And the facts are that men are more drawn to attractive younger ladies that don't have baggage, and sometimes that baggage may only just be age or kind of body clock. So yeah, see what she's got to say.
No, not really. In reality, it's a concept invented.
Let's go back a bit.
You hit the wall, and hit it hard.
Okay, that is a concept invented by men that is projected onto women.
No, not really.
Well, I don't know. Let's just try and think what she's saying, right? These are the things that men are looking for in women, and that's just the facts. And again, I'm not talking about all men, but I think the majority of men, they got certain standards. Standards may well be the wrong words, and I'm not trying to be an idiot. They've got certain things that they're key things that they're looking for. Women are quite comfortable saying they're looking for a provider, an attractive man, somebody who's interesting to be around, and good company, and expresses that interests in them and emotionally available, and is emotionally available. All reasonable things. Men also have criteria too. I think for most men that will start off with attractiveness, kind of a degree of agreeableness, and it's going to be youth and fertility for most men, and these are the realities.
In reality, it's a concept invented by evolution and biology. But continue on.
But women don't hit the wall. But if they were to hit the wall, hypothetically speaking, the only two times they would ever hit the wall would be, one, if they're literally dead, and two, if they decide to stop taking care of themselves.
Well, yeah, I got to agree with you on the obvious one. If you're dead, you most certainly have hit the wall. I mean, why you're even bringing that up in the argument really doesn't make that much sense. But as to the second thing you said...
And before he goes on and explains his point, I think stop looking after themselves. See, I'm in London, right? And there's quite a few people gym culture is, quite strong here. But if you go around the gym, most of the people in that gym, it's going to be guys. You know what I mean? I'm not saying all ladies, but basically, long story short, I'm not sure, and there's always exceptions. I'm not talking about everybody again, but I think guys are more likely to have to be on top of their appearance. They're making that approach, and you know what I mean. They have a better sense of, yeah, you got to put your best foot forward a lot of the time when you're making that first impression and trying to date and draw ladies' interest. And because the ladies are receiving, I think they kind of get the perception that maybe they can get away with things. And I think some, not all, of course, never talking about all, maybe let themselves go a little bit. So the lady in the video just now was kind of making an inference that we've either got to be dead or let yourself go. Like, both those things are the extremes. But there's plenty of people who let themselves go, and there's plenty of people who have never been in shape, and they will have always struggled. And in later life, it's going to be struggle even more, even if they were interested. Let's move on.
Which is, a woman can let herself go and then indeed hit the wall. There may be some truth to that, but not in the way you think. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's hear what else you have to say.
And I'm not talking about just taking care of your physical appearance, because that is what a lot of women focus all their attention on.
You think? And let's be honest, the reason they do that is because they're worried about being judged by other women, not men.
You as a woman are able to take care of your physical appearance, your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health. You're in tune with yourself. You don't neglect yourself. You don't neglect your needs. You have a community of people who support you and understand you. You're never, ever gonna hit the wall.
Tell me.
Hold on. You have a community of people who love you and understand you. That's a lot of kind of assumptions in that. I mean, is she talking about family? Not necessarily. Is she talking about her friends? Well, not necessarily. And especially when women get men or get into relationships, they kind of become more insular. You know what I mean? And for one reason or another, yeah, kind of withdraw from wanting to go out, or probably pressured by a partner, who knows, to stop going out. But I think more generally, they just kind of don't really want to be out there kind of courting men, and because they've got a man, you know what I mean? So making a lot of inferences there. Or is she talking about the online world, these mystery people who are just there to flatter ego, or within a bubble just kind of reinforcing the same set of beliefs, like an echo chamber? Is that what she means? In terms of these people who are there for ladies who aren't dead and haven't let themselves go. Anyway, let's see what she says.
You don't know what it means to hit the wall without telling me. Yeah, I know that's a tired old phrase, but this is the epitome of not understanding what men mean when they say a woman has hit the wall. Because all those things she mentioned, while valuable traits, I'll agree, are things that women value, not so much men. She literally has absolutely no understanding of how men think and feel.
He's hit the nail on the head. And I think I've said in other videos, there's a problem when men only listen to that kind of echo chamber of other men, and they don't really kind of think outside the box about what ladies want. And there's definitely an echo chamber of ladies with the kind of guess what men want. But I think worse than that, they almost kind of want to invent what men want as the reality, even though it's not. And then they're kind of frustrated that that reality hasn't panned out. And they kind of lie to themselves, or kind of say, create this alternative reality. It's bizarre. Let's see what it says anyway.
Like most of today's modern women, they can't get out of their
And again, just to reinforce, I'm not talking about everybody.
own space. They view everything through the prism of how women think. The reality that men think completely different from women is something that they will not accept. They deny it even exists. And anything that's outside that norm, they simply disregard, ignore, or decide that it's wrong. She's actually utterly clueless about it. And I'll explain why in just a bit.
The reason why men love saying you're gonna hit the wall is because they're scared of hitting the wall.
Oh, honey, I hate to break it to you, but no.
Really not. Again, the biological clock for a man. I mean, is it De Niro? No, yeah, Robert De Niro. Is that Kids? And I know he's a celebrity, it's not the same, but you don't have to be a De Niro to still be a virulent man. You can just have worked throughout your life and have foundations of resources, or still be relatively attractive or silver fox. And you'll still be attractive to a wide range of ladies, and things are changing a little bit, but it's not quite the same for ladies. It's not quite the same in reverse. As I say, the older that a lady gets, I know not reinventing the wheel, but so most men want to have their own lineage, have their own children, and it's just there's a clock there for ladies, so it's just not the same unless their narrative and their conversation is planning ahead. So that would be kind of freezing eggs, and you need to have the resources for that, but it's not even all that much. But it's not where the narrative is it? It's about creating this different reality about what men want and what women should be prioritizing, and there's no real clock. And if you want that straight relationship, aka a woman relationship with a man, then there is, sadly.
They're not. Men don't hit the wall. Women do.
They're scared of being old and alone, and they want you to hurry up and settle for them so that they're not old and alone. So it's projection.
Oh, it's projection, all right. But it's you and most of today's modern women that are doing
100%. Men are not scared about being old and alone. They're just not at all. Of course, there's going to be some exceptions. I'm talking about the majority, and men are quite happy in their own space. Got to think about it this way. I mean, who's chasing and who's pressuring for marriage a lot of the time these days? It's really not the men. It tends to be the ladies, and men are more than happy. I think most people would agree, or finding their own experience with more casual relationships and no pressure relationships, however you want to phrase it. And I think that's the reality for most people as we see it, right? But I guess it's all about perspective. I don't know. From her, anyway. I mean, no, I don't agree with her on this anyway. Maybe there's a cluster of men out there which do fulfill this, but I haven't seen them. But maybe they do exist.
the projecting. You all want to believe that men are scared of being alone when they get older, when the reality is it's women who are scared. And interestingly, they're starting to admit it. You're seeing more and more videos from older women admitting that they're afraid they're going to end up alone, that they're not going to have a man in their life. Not now, not ever. And the reality of the matter is, women...
Yeah, I don't want to make it seem like this is some kind of competition. I think he's pointing out some facts here. It's not a competition, but I think there just needs to be some honesty in the narrative, in as much as you don't want, say, especially the older ladies lying or creating some alternative reality to the younger ladies coming through, saying, yeah, don't worry about it, go on your holiday for a couple of years and kick that can down the line. And when they get down the line, they end up in the same position as the women that gave them that advice, which is absolutely nowhere. You know what I mean? So that's the reality as told by the men that you're hoping to attract. You know what I mean? In terms of, not for the men you're trying to attract, by the people that you're trying to attract, aka men. Unless you get ridiculously lucky. And as I say, there will be some examples, some I don't know, small, low probability examples where that is the case, but the more common examples is where time runs out and then people are finding those options at the later stage of life not quite what they expected. And as I say, there needs to be some truth to this narrative. That's what this video is about, and it seems like that's what that video is about. Maybe the tone and sometimes delivering a hard message or the truthful message is not palatable, or people are not ready for it and will kind of push against it. But truth is truth. So yeah, that's what this video is about.
Know that to be a truth. They know that they're going to end up alone because men do indeed have options. They can choose to be alone. And for the most part, they're okay with that. In fact, many of them are finding that they're thriving that way. Oh, sure, we'd love to have a happy, healthy relationship. But the odds of finding one of them, not just when you're older, but at any point for today's man, is damn near zero at this point. And women are seeing that, which is why they are the ones that are, in fact, scared, which is why they project those feelings, those beliefs onto men, like you just did.
Not to mention, it's completely untrue that nobody's going to want you as you get older, as long as you as a woman continue taking good care of yourself.
Oh, I truly feel sorry for this young lady, because the reality is she's already hit the wall. She just doesn't know it yet. Or maybe she does, which is why she's coming up with all these things to avoid facing that reality.
Because the amount of men who
I think she just wants to continue this lie. She doesn't look. She's not a bad-looking lady. You know what I mean? I think she's definitely got filters on. Yeah, most men out here, we kind of got our filter radar on now. You know what I'm saying? And if you're gonna put a video onto social media, I mean, I haven't. You know, what I mean, I haven't even worked out my lighting, but yeah, she wants to feed the narrative. She wants to. She doesn't want to challenge people and get the pushback. You know what I mean? But you know, if you're about truth, and actually wanted people to have food for thought and not miss the boat and things like that, whatever is positive and in goal positive, then you have to have some honesty. And I don't think this lady's being honest. Possibly delusion, but I think for social media, it's all just about clicks and not peeing people off. And yeah, just stick to the honesty, please.
actually increases.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at her. I really don't. But if she thinks that's the reality.
Because the amount of men who want you actually increases.
Oh,
No, let's go back, because I think she just said something
feelings,
crazy.
those beliefs onto men, like you just did.
Not to mention
I had to be one, because I think she just said something absolutely off the wall.
it's completely untrue that nobody's going to want you as you get older, as long as you as a woman continue taking good care of yourself.
Oh, I truly feel sorry for this young lady, because the reality is she's already hit the wall. She just doesn't know it yet. Or maybe she does, which is why she's coming up with all these things to avoid facing that reality.
Because the amount of men who want you actually increases.
Oh,
She just said, as you get older, the amount of men that actually want you increases. Wow, even as a man, as you get older, the amount of women want you increases. I mean, yeah, when you're younger, all the girls want older men. I think there's a point where that kind of plateaus a little bit, and it's a little bit less than it would have been. You know what I mean? You can be labelled old, but it will never be zero, and it will always be in that strong zone. You'll have a strong pool to choose from, or relatively strong, or strong enough pool to choose from, depending on how you've maintained yourself, how you come across, and your resources, and the standard of life you can offer to you as a couple going forwards. But listen, let's get past this. No, you go too far, honey. There's not one. The women don't get more attractive as they get older at all. Some men may get more attractive as they get older, say based on the resources, and just be more mature and more ready for a relationship. But it just doesn't. It's a fallacy to say it's the same in return. It's just not true.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at her. I really don't. But if she thinks that's the reality, boy, is she in for a rude awakening.
That's why I said you're not going to hit the wall as a woman unless you're literally dead or you decide to stop taking care of yourself. Because if you're not going to stop taking care of yourself, men are constantly going to want you.
Denial isn't just a river in Egypt for today's modern women, is it?
Even if you're married with kids.
I think she's just making assumptions about how things are in later life, because she's quite attractive now and assumes it's going to be like that forever. And it would be lovely if it was, but it's just not the case.
Divorced, widowed, whatever. They're going to want you. That is a fact.
Oh, honey, just because you think it's a fact doesn't make it a fact. Maybe you should go talk to some of those single mothers who are sitting home alone every single Saturday night because men don't want them.
So stop letting these red pill men scare you with this hitting the wall phrase that they love to use, because we all know it's just a projection of how scared they are of being old and alone.
I do want to make a comment on that, and I hope this doesn't come across in this video. It's just all about kind of honesty. I don't want to make relentless videos which seem like I'm smashing people or slamming people or necessarily on one side of the fence. I'm not here to try and say all women are bad or anything like that. I'm not trying to say anybody's bad. I'm just trying to counterbalance all the lies and the delusion with a little bit of reality, just so that people can go into things with open eyes and honesty, as I said. And just as a heads up, I'm not planning to do, and I hope I haven't done any videos which may well come across as slamming women. I love women, you know what I'm saying? And there's going to be things for men to learn, and I hope I try and balance it out. And there's going to be things for women to learn, but the most of all, it's just all about honesty from us, from me, and from who I'm kind of reviewing.
Or, and I mean no ill will here, maybe stop listening to young 20-year-old women who think they know it all and are running around telling other women how it is, when in reality, they have no idea what they're talking about. They just simply spew wishful thinking and projections and whatever it takes to help them avoid the reality. The reality that men are done and walking away, especially from older women. The fact that you think men are actually scared is laughable. And it shows us, once again, that you don't understand men. You're projecting your emotions onto them. Because I'm willing to bet you've never actually talked to a man, especially an older man. And even if you did, you'll do what most of the women that are watching this video.
It does sound like that. She cannot possibly have talked to any man, especially an older man, maybe a dad or something like that would be the most useful. But you can't, and even if she did, which I sincerely don't believe that she has, like this gentleman saying here, you can't talk to a man who's trying to chat you up because he's trying to chat you up or he's trying to win favour for you. You know, that guy who's kind of fawning after you, you can't chat to him about it. He's going to agree with what you're saying because he's sexually attracted to you. The only people you can really going to talk to you honestly are going to be your dad, or if you got brothers, or you got an uncle, somebody who's that sexual element is removed. But even a friend may want to be kind of massaging your personality and your feelings, and you may not be receptive to kind of the reality of stuff as well. So I don't know this girl. I'm just saying, you need to seek honesty and see it from genuine places. If you rule number one, if you ask people and in most things or in everything they tend to agree with you, then they're never being honest with you. But if you can think about the times where somebody, despite your feelings, kind of let you know where they stood, and that happens quite a lot, then they're more likely to being honest. And even then, they're still probably going to try and manage the friendship with you. So, I don't think she gets that's too young, in my point of view.
We're going to do. Declare that everything I'm saying is wrong. Because you think in your minds, you know better how men think and feel than men do. It's a universal trait of today's modern women. And it's why they're so utterly clueless. Because here's the other reality for men that you ladies don't like. Especially because you know it's true. Men can date younger. And in reality, biologically speaking...
See, in terms of delivery of message, and this is what I want to try. I'm not sending him under the bus. This guy's got a lot of good comments, but now he's coming across a bit salty. He's going to fall into traps. I think he's talking truth, but we want to take the salt out of it. You know what I mean? What do they call now? A bit sassy. It's not a competition. So I don't want to take away from a message because he's still talking truth. But hopefully my videos, I'll try, oh my gosh, not to come across as sassy or salty. Just truth.
Women opt for older men. So it's very easy for men to date younger. I mean, why date some 50 or 60-year-old woman when there's plenty of 30 and 40-year-olds more than willing to date an older man? I'm not saying that to brag. I'm not saying that to put women down. I'm simply saying that's a biological and evolutionary fact.
It's just funny to me the way these men think that their attention determines our value.
You know, I actually feel sorry for her and most of the younger women from today. Because what she's espousing is the very toxicity and mindset that is driving men away. It is that very toxicity that indeed makes up the wall that women hit. Yes, there are...
He is touching on something. I don't know if she's toxic. I think she's just kind of a little bit lost in terms of, listen, if she's interested in men, she has to kind of position herself in a way that men will find attractive and not find toxic. And it is about mindset and I guess values and just that energy and So I think he's right with the use of that word of toxic, and I say that can go both ways. But you need to be with somebody that wants to be with you, and it doesn't feel like it's it's not meant to be compulsory. It's not meant to be like a job. It's not meant to be like too much effort. It's meant to feel natural. And as beautiful as this lady is, I think she may well struggle to maintain a relationship with a man with that current mindset. And that's just reality and my truth in terms of my point of view about how she's coming across.
Other factors. Yes, there are biological ones like not being able to reproduce eventually, but men in general are willing to overlook all of those things for the right woman, the non-toxic woman. But the reality is, the thing that's really driving it is that most of today's modern women have been indoctrinated with that toxicity literally from birth. The thing that really makes a woman hit the wall is this mindset, which is why I argue that it doesn't matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, or 70. A woman can hit the wall at any age, and usually does when she starts displaying this toxicity.
When in reality, most of
Yeah, just to kind of round off that point, it is a really, I think that, as I say, the more that men kind of go to their kind of like little bunker and women go to their bunker and they're only listening to each other speak, and it's that little bubble, just lost and not really understanding why the other side won't agree with this reality that they're creating. But it's a distorted reality than the world we live in. And yeah, just yeah, that's the point why I'm doing these videos to an extent, just to give a little bit of truth to things. Anyway, so let's see what they've got to say.
don't want their attention, and also they don't look like people that we want attention from.
And they say they don't judge people by how they look.
So it's just a little conflicting to me when I hear things like hitting the wall, because I'm like, when would that ever be a thing for any woman? Unless she was literally dead or stopped taking care of herself.
And again, I have to say, I truly feel sorry for this young lady, because I can tell already she's going to end up alone and blaming men for that reality, when in fact, it's her attitude, her toxicity that's on full display, which is the reason why no man is ever going to want to be in a relationship with her, because it is her toxicity.
It kind of is, but it's that kind of the delusional lie from mostly just listening to other people of failed relationships, usually just trying to give advice to other people, bad advice. It would be like men listening to other men who have never had any success in relationships, and women listening to other women who have not had success in relationships and expecting different outcomes. It's like, that's the problem right there.
Narcissism and refusal to take accountability that is going to drive every man she ever could possibly meet away. Oh, sure, they may hook up with her, but be in a relationship? Not a chance. The minute they see that toxicity, they're going to walk away. No, make that run away. And I think it's a shame that older women don't sit her down and have a discussion with her. Explain to her that her mindset is indeed going to turn men away. The problem being, of course, unfortunately, most of today's modern women think exactly like her, which is why they, in turn, are alone and bitter. The wall comes, ladies, whether you like it or not. And while, yes, appearance and ability to reproduce is part of it, the truth of the matter is, as I've said, it's more about your attitude than anything else. You can deny it exists.
Yeah, I think, listen, as I said, I've got a friend who's about my age, in his 40s, and he's with an older lady, and she's got kids, and they're happily married, and he's taken that on. I don't know her that well, but I get the sense from what he said that she's good company. You know what I mean? And she's got those true values that you like to be around, and yeah, good mother, good wife, good person, that type of thing. You know what I mean? And that is what men are looking for, that kind of tried and trusted, I guess, traditional values to an extent. Even if it has that modern slant, it's about working together more so than in opposition. Let's go.
You can find excuses for why it shouldn't exist, but it does indeed exist, and it's a reality you all need to face. Sadly, I doubt hardly any will.
It's interesting how some women spend their younger years chasing after what they think is the best option, only to hit the wall and realize their time is limited. And here's the thing. The wall is real. Every woman knows it's coming, but many only recognize it once they're right in front of it. That's when reality...
That is 100% again. These two guys, man, they could just, the advice is spot on. And I don't have a daughter, but if I did, as I said, there'll be some focus on, if you meet a great guy with great potential, whatever age, even older guys, genuinely, I say even older guys, if they're genuine and they got their life together and they're mature and they're in the right place, then, you know, don't pass up on your husband if you're ladies, because you are time driven. And don't let that pass you by. And I just think that a lot of ladies are being sold a lie, and it's problematic. Not for men, but it will be for women as soon as they understand the reality.
hits, and it hits hard. Why? Because their egos are built up to be untouchable, stronger than diamond. Society, social media, and even friends inflate this sense of entitlement, making them feel like they're always going to be that 10 out of 10, no matter how much time passes. But deep down, they know the truth. You can hear the desperation in their voices when they try to convince themselves otherwise, talking about how they're still as desirable as ever. But the truth is, time catches up with them, and ignoring it doesn't make it go away. Men, on the other hand, are waking up. More and more, they're realizing that relationships today come with way too much hassle. We're talking about men who have been through the ringer, who've put in the effort only to see it go unappreciated. The truth is, modern dating and relationships often just aren't worth it anymore. The risks far outweigh the rewards. Why are so many men choosing to be alone? It's because they're seeing through the game. They know that the older women get, the more the tables turn. Men are realizing their own worth, and they're opting out of the chaos. They've seen the entitlement, the attitude, and the lack of accountability. They're no longer willing to deal with all that, especially when the benefit just isn't there. And that's why men are giving up on dating, relationships, and especially marriage. It's not that men are afraid of commitment. It's that the landscape has changed, and the value proposition has shifted. Women, particularly those who have hit the wall, are finding it harder to land the high-value men they're after because those men have already figured out that they don't need to settle. They've got their lives in order, and they'd rather maintain peace and focus on themselves than deal with unnecessary drama. So, to the women out there trying to convince themselves that nothing has changed, know that it has. Men have woken up, and they're choosing peace, solitude, and self-fulfillment over relationships that no longer serve them.
Yeah, I've watched a few videos where men have chosen solitude, and the one video that comes to mind, he had a traumatic experience towards the end of his marriage, became a sexless marriage, and I think he was being controlled quite a lot in terms of what he can't do, what he can't buy with his own money. You know what I mean? And it was just like, thank goodness, man, I don't need to kind of answer to somebody else, or I'm not in charge of somebody else's happiness and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, there are instances where people want to be in solitude. Yeah, and there may all be other reasons as well, which I'm not going to touch on right now. But I think most people want to have companionship even in later life. You know what I mean? And I think both as you get older, especially if you got kids and things like that, I would imagine that you are happy knowing you've got that perpetuity. You've got that kid in order to kind of engage your interest as well as your other interests in terms of work and travel and hobbies. You know what I mean? So as many of those kind of boxes you can tick, you may well be happy in later life. But I don't think being alone 24/7 is necessarily going to be the one, but can't speak for everybody.
Harsh truth, but ignoring it won't make it go away.
Anyway, that's it. So hope you found that useful. Please like, subscribe. That is Steve, and I am out.